In the Badger State, nearly 24 nursing homes have closed since 2020. That's according to the group LeadingAge Wisconsin. Experts say the closures are disproportionately impacting rural communities and leaving a hole in the healthcare system. NBC 15's Vanessa Kelson attended an open house at Oakwood Village's new nursing home in Madison to learn more about why these closures are happening and what the future of nursing homes looks like.
From insurance reimbursement rates to regulations, healthcare experts say there are a lot of reasons of why Wisconsin has seen a surge in nursing home closures. But they say one problem is at the root of all of it.
Very exciting day for Oakwood.
Oakwood Village celebrated an open house at its new modern facility featuring 60 beds, 450 square foot suites, and a cafe.
We're hoping that this building will help attract some caregivers.
During the height of the pandemic, caregiver burnout and shortages were rampant. Fast forward to 2023, there still aren't enough workers. Why?
I don't know. I mean, that's the common question people are asking is, where has everybody gone? And I don't know.
Experts say it's one of the main reasons nursing homes are closing.
The capacity of our nursing homes is really dependent on the workforce.
Sauer says the average Wisconsin nursing home is at 70% capacity, not because older adults don't need the services, but because there's simply not enough caretakers.
No one wants a facility to accept people if they don't have adequate staff.
It's part of why surviving nursing homes are getting smaller.
There's actually an incentive for facilities to downsize.
Sauer explains nursing homes pay $170 a month in state taxes for every bed they have, whether they're occupied or empty, meaning those empty beds are expensive. At Oakwood, the new building's 60 beds is a downsize from its previous location with 70 beds.
There's not enough caregivers right now. That's a major challenge for Oakwood and all providers like Oakwood.
John Sauer from LeadingAge Wisconsin tells me it conducted a survey of all of its nursing home members throughout the state, and he says by far, staffing is the #1 thing that keeps people up at night. Reporting live from the studio, Vanessa Kelson, NBC 15 News.